Isaiah 61 says this: I am sent to announce a new season of Yahweh's grace, or the favorable year of the Lord, and a time of God's recompense on his enemies. You see, this is the word of the Lord to you today. Hang on with me throughout this thing, because I got a little bit more to tell you today. There's a word and there's a dream that God gave me, and more in this scripture. But the first thing he wants you to know is today, this is a kind of a line in the sand. He's marking a new time for you and saying, this here is a new season. This is the favorable year of the Lord. And this is also the time that his recompense is going to be distributed. Make no mistakes about it. But God said to me to tell them that they must make their decision about who they will serve. And maybe you think you've already made that decision, but think about this. Whenever God brings up a question or brings a thought to you about something you think you know, that means he's pushing you into a higher level of understanding and revelation. He's giving you more weight on what that decision means. And he said to me that pretty soon it's going to be hard. It's going to be harder for people to establish that they stand with me. And I thought, Lord, what could it be? What could it mean? Is it just pressure on the church? What is it that's going to make it so hard for us to be able to distinguish and to stand with you? And so I'm going to give you a dream that he gave me, which gives us a little bit more insight. In this dream, I was in a warehouse, and it was full of thousands of people, thousands of Christians. And there was a floor to the warehouse. It was one room, and then there was a stairway going up, still within the same room. And there was a woman sitting at a desk at the top of the stairs with a book that she had open. In front of her was another desk that had a notebook where people were signing their names. Everybody on the floor had already signed their name in this book, and there were people walking up the stairs to take their turn to sign their name. The reason they were signing their name is because they were just saying, yes, I see what she's doing. Let me tell you what the woman was doing. So she was basically reading something out of this book, almost conjuring something up, and out of the book would flow would these black, dark clouds, huge clouds that were just darkness. And the darkness would turn into these crows and they would fly away. And so I could see that the darkness was it was covering the sky. Even though we were in a warehouse, I could see it begin to cover the sky. And I knew that if it continued, it was going to cover the nation. It was going to cover the world eventually. And what was fueling it was the fact that people were coming up and signing their name on this book, just acknowledging that they saw the darkness. It wasn't that they were glad about it or anything. They just wrote their names to say, yes, I saw it. And so I'm making my way up the stairs, acting like I'm going to sign my name. No, I don't want to sign my name. I'm just trying to get close to her. I'm trying to see what she's doing, how she's doing this. And so I get up and I get ready to sign my name. I pick up the pen and I write no on the paper. And I just begin to let out this loud praise. I just started praising the Lord. I just started praying in the Spirit as loud as I could. Just with everything in me was coming out praises to our God. And as I began to do that, everybody in the warehouse began to join me. And it was this loud lifting up of praise to our God, to Yahweh. And as we began to do that, the clouds began to roll back. The crows began to dissipate. Everything was rolling back into that book that she had open. And man, it was just the biggest explosion of the recognition of the mightiness of our King that you could ever imagine. And I looked at her and she said, he told me it wasn't going to work. And I knew her to be talking about God. And in that moment, I woke up and God began to speak to me about that dream. And he said, my people are contributing to the darkness just by acknowledging its existence and not turning to minister to me. The praise that is due, not turning to minister to me. He says his people are contributing to this darkness just by looking at what is, continuing to keep your eye on what is. is and saying, yes, I see it, rather than looking to what is eternal, rather than speaking light in the dark place and not even acknowledging the darkness. You see, this is the position of the church. This is the position of his bride. If you read it, continue to read in Isaiah 61, here it is. It says that he will give you the mantle of joyous praise, joyous praise, joyous praise, instead of the spirit of heaviness. Everything that you are seeing on this earth now, all of the war, all of the disagreements, all of the anger, all of the bloodshed, everything, God says this heaviness is not yours. Stop contributing to it. Instead, take your garment of praise. And it says, because of this, they will be known as mighty oaks of righteousness, bride. Church, it is time to be the mighty oaks of righteousness planted by Yahweh as a living display of his glory. This is the position that we are to take. And this is what he meant by make your choice. Choose who you will serve, because he said you don't even realize that you are contributing and choosing darkness just by the very acknowledgement of it. The enemy can gather our energy and use it to create darkness that covers the earth. God is calling on us right now to lift up the highest praise at all times, be light at all times, be a word of worship at all times, be a display of his glory. Be careful, and make your choice. Where do you stand?